Hey everybody, Ava from the future here, just to preface that this episode was the last one that we recorded on our old setup before these fancy new microphones that sound just great. So please forgive any weird audio differences or background noise. Videos from here on out should have just this kind of quality, but we wouldn't be able to have that if we didn't have support from you guys, and I just wanted to say thank you all so much for everything, whether it be a view or Patreon or whatever. Thank you. And I hope you enjoy this episode. We had a great time making it. So yeah, enjoy.
I got my notes. I'm taking notes in red today.
Oh yeah.
'Cause blood.
'Cause blood. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Explain Warhammer Fantasy to my girlfriend. My name is Ava, and joining me as always is my lovely significant other, Carrie.
Bleh!
Whoa, that, why? Why are you scared of me?
I got horns, I assume.
Oh. Yeah.
Look, I'm scary. Bleh! Guys, spoopy, I'm a demon.
Today is our second patron-voted episode covering Valkia the Bloody. Every season we try to do a community-voted episode over on our Patreon. The first one we did was on the Custodes, and that was really funny.
The timing.
It was really funny because we recorded it and literally
2 days.
2 days after, it was like, by the way, female Custodes are a thing. And we were like, oh, sick. Cool. So, fingers crossed for me, because today we are covering one of my favorite Warhammer characters, my favorite Warhammer character probably across the entire setting, Valkia the Bloody. So, fingers crossed the same thing happens 2 days from now as of recording this.
Valkia? Valkia?
No, I want her model to come back because it's old and bad and they just removed it, and I want her to like come back Age of Sigmarified and she like looks badass and like, that'd be awesome. I would love that.
I'm manifesting it.
I'm manifesting. But yes, we are covering Valkia the Bloody, the consort of Khorne. She is the baddest bitch around. But before we get into it, if you like the show and you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com/NUMBSKULLS, where you can get access to a private Discord. Come chill out, hang out with us, talk about minis, have fun. You get access to bloopers, early episodes, submitted questions to be read on this show, and much, much more. That is all over at patreon.com/NUMBSKULLS. And if you'd be so kind, give us a like, subscribe, comment.
Algorithm.
It helps a lot more than you actually think.
Same on other platforms like Spotify.
We have a Spotify. Check it out. Link in the description if you want to listen to it that way. Give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, you don't have to look at us.
No visuals. My love.
Ugh.
What do you know about Valkia the Bloody?
Bad bitch.
True.
Queen behavior.
True.
We stan.
Anything else?
Weird shield. Don't like the shield.
Okay, yeah, her art has a shield. That's important to her character.
That's great. It gives me a bit of the heebie-jeebies. Everything else is good, though. She's also got a little bit of a xenomorph head going on in this particular picture.
Yeah, she looks a bit like a bloodletter, and there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about that with her story. It's a big part of her story.
Right. This is how my feminism aspires to manifest.
Fair. That's fair.
Intersectional and murderous.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, Valkia is probably my favorite Warhammer character ever. I love her so much because obviously she's going to have something to do with Khorne. She's called Valkia the Bloody.
No.
I love Khorne. It's great. I love chaos.
Right.
But also, she's just cool.
Yeah.
And I read her book a couple years ago, and I really, really liked it. And I reread it in preparation of this episode. And God, it's still very, very good. I'll have a visual of it on screen now. Go check it out. It's an amazing book. Are you ready to learn about Valkia the Bloody?
I hope so. I guess if I'm not, we're about to find out.
Oh, it's true.
I'll just keel over.
Let us cue the moody music.
Oh, guys, here we go.
Headwoman, Gore Queen, Consort of Khorne, Harbinger of War. Many titles, all earned. Valkia the Bloody is a tale of strength, of triumph, of betrayal, and of glory. And as you can imagine, it is also a tale told in blood.
She's heterosexual.
No.
Oh.
Well, we'll talk about what headwoman means in just a second.
Okay.
So, a long, long time ago, far longer than any scholar can remember, during the time of the great invasion of chaos, there was a clan of humans known as the Schwarzwolf, who valued strength above everything else. They worshipped a god known as the Axe Father.
They axe him things.
They might have acknowledged the other gods, but the Axe Father was worshipped above all else.
Okay.
Valkia was born as the first surviving child to Eris and Merrick, and she was lovingly nicknamed Lilleven, little friend.
My naming theory does not lend itself to that one.
No, it doesn't. No.
But I guess that's just a nickname, right?
Yeah, her name was Valkia, but they called her little friend. Her upbringing was pretty normal, as it could be with the early tribes of man. You know, lots of hunting and gathering, very patriarchal, where, you know, men are the strong warriors and the women, you know, women are warriors, but it's mostly the men doing stuff.
Right.
So as a kid, Valkia spent a lot of time with her mother, and her father was the hetman, the leader of the clan, and he mostly attended to duties like battling other clans or just, you know, being a beacon of strength. This clan, living past the age of 30, you were considered like ancient.
Right.
Yeah, we're not living very long in this time.
Yeah.
So, Valkia grew to be very, very sharp. She was introspective of herself and the world around her, and she happily lived the first few years of her life. She had a great time with her mom. She liked her dad well enough. He was strong, she looked up to him, and she wanted to be like him one day. And then one night, disaster struck. Whether it was a ritual to please the gods or simple, mindless slaughter, a rival clan attacked the Schwarzwolf. They were caught off guard, and in the massacre, Valkia's mother, Eris, fell over dead. Merrick wept for his wife, and Valkia, something inside her changed. Where she may have been curious and introspective of the world, she was now quiet and very serious. Her words became short, to the point, and she wore the grief of her mother's passing with a stoic expression and an inferno in her heart. So, the trauma.
The Ackerman blood has been activated.
She's gonna take
she
the
did
spear.
the whole
Not
the
yet,
brain,
actually. We're gonna
electric thing.
We are going to get to the Ackerman activation pretty soon,
no.
actually. You're not super far off. A year went by, and the war with the rival clan continued. Skirmishes and battles between both clans were commonplace. And one night, while sitting with her father, watching the lights dance along the stars, she looks to her dad and says,
"Tomorrow, I will fight with my people."
And her dad refuses this, because in their clan, it was commonplace for women to be part of the warriors only after they had given birth.
Hate that.
Well,
I mean, I
yeah,
understand
it's not great,
it. Hate it.
but it's not great.
What if they can't
Not
give
great.
birth?
Well, then you're a warrior, I guess. Then
Well,
you're
apparently
fine.
not. How are they going to know? They don't
Well-
have what kind of medicine do they have back at this point? They probably don't
got
understand
shamans.
like fertility and stuff. They got shamans,
maybe.
so they totally know how like menstrual cycles work and like
I mean, they might. Yeah.
they got shamans.
It's fantasy. I don't know. So her dad tells her no. He says, "I forbid it." And Valkia just looks at him and goes,
"I defy you."
and so they argue for a little bit. And in this moment, Merrick is seeing Valkia and he can see her mom in her. And that makes him deeply sad. And eventually he gives in. He says, "I cannot allow you to come to the battle, but I can speak with the circle, and they might make you a shield maiden, as your mother was." And Valkia is fine with that. She just wants to fight. She's angry. Very angry. And as they're looking at this tundra, Valkia is looking out, and her eyes are sparkling, and she just asks her dad,
"Where are the gods?"
obviously it's the Chaos Gods. These tribes are very deep in their beliefs at this point that the Chaos Gods are real, and they will listen to us.
Right.
So, makes sense to ask this kind of question. And Merrick tells her, "Well, they're far to the north, further than any of us have traveled."
Ohio.
Valkia says to him,
When I grow up, I will go there.
and her dad laughs, and she gets mad at him. She's like,
Why is that funny?
and he goes, I believe you, Lilleven. If anyone can make the journey, it would be you. Let's remember that for later in the story.
Why is it funny?
Tell me why.
Why? Explain.
So Valkia becomes a shield maiden. And basically the shield maiden's job is they form a circle around the camp to protect the livestock and those who can't fight. So like children.
So you talk to the circle to see if you can be part of the circle.
Yeah. The bigger circle, the shield circle.
So it's all like circles and circles.
That night, the enemy clan attacked again, and Valkia stood shoulder to shoulder with her fellow shield maidens. It did not take long for the line to be breached, and in the commotion, Valkia stumbled for a few moments, dropping her shield and keeping low to the ground until she finally spotted her father and the other members of the circle covered in blood, battling with the ferocity of beasts. And in this moment, Valkia is like, what do I do? What is happening? She's confused, she's dazed kind of, but then she kind of clicks and realizes, yo, I'm tiny.
Y'all.
No one sees me. It's like Arya Stark. She's like, oh, no one's gonna look down in a fight.
She can skid her.
So she picks up a knife and she just goes around hamstringing dudes.
Yeah. Take out the legs.
And what are you gonna do? They don't even notice she's coming up, and all of a sudden they're on the ground, and then her dad comes by and just like bonks their fucking head.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Once the dust cleared and the battle was over, Valkia's father brought her to the enemy leader, and his leg was just ruined, bleeding. He couldn't move. And her dad is super proud. And he looks to Valkia and he goes, this kill belongs to you. It was your strike that felled him, and the honor of his slaughter is yours. And he hands her his spear. And the enemy chief looks down from Merrick to Valkia, and he sneers. Valkia got pissed. How dare this creature treat her with anything less than her father? How dare he look at her as if she was beneath his interests? Without hesitation, she stabs this dude in the chest.
Well, I mean, like, if somebody was gonna kill me, I would sneer at them too, to be fair.
But it's less that and more like, oh, you're having a girl do it? And Valkia's like, oh, fuck off. And she kills him. And after he dies, she spits on his corpse. And her dad is like, yeah! Her dad is super hyped.
Right. I mean, is this the same enemy clan that, like, killed their mom?
Killed her mom. Yes.
So, like, I would think, like, I would spit on him for that, not because he looked at me funny.
It's a bit of both. It's like, fuck you for killing my mom. Also, fuck you for looking down on me. So this was a big moment in Valkia's childhood.
Right.
And ever since this happened, she started to become the greatest warrior in the clan. She spent day in, day out training. She cut her hair to be super short. Her body became lean with muscle, and she was beautiful. Despite this, she never had any lovers.
You ain't got time for that. She's kicking trees and shit.
No, she doesn't have time for that. But this was not for lack of anybody trying. Valkia would reject or just straight up kill anybody who tried to take her.
I mean, don't get in the way of the lady chopping shit.
If a no doesn't work, she would just kill them.
A no should be enough. Lesson number one, no means no.
But for some of these dudes in this clan are like, oh, well, a woman told me no, I don't care. And she's like, all right, and then would just cut their head
No, good
off.
for her. Good for her.
Good
Queen.
for her. Queen shit. So, this, among some of her other behaviors, again, obsessed with training, she didn't really respect authority. Her dad and her did not have a great relationship. He was like, you should behave more like the daughter of the chief, which I am. And she was like, why? I'm the strongest warrior here. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Whenever the two were together for more than an hour, they would start name calling, then snipping at each other, and then it would just escalate to full screaming matches. So they, most of the time, didn't spend a lot of time together. They would just prefer to not do that.
Right. I assume they live together.
Yeah, they probably live in like a tent. They live in the same camp.
Yeah.
Like they don't have like cities at this point.
Right.
They're all just like very tribal. Valkia, at this time, also had become a half-sister.
Oh.
After the war with the rival clan ended, her father remarried and had a couple other kids. And she didn't really mind her siblings. She actually got along with them quite well, especially her half-brother, guy by the name of Eden, who they would spar quite often with, though Eden would never win.
Right.
Valkia was too quick, too strong, too fierce.
Yeah.
She's too good. She's built different.
I mean, she's also probably just bigger at this point.
Actually, she's quite lean.
Well, I mean, I don't know the time that has passed.
Couple years by this time. She's like maybe 16.
Okay, so how old is he?
A little younger. A year, maybe. Because again, this tribe, they don't expect to live very long. So I imagine after the rival clan was done, Merrick was probably like, you gotta get busy living or get busy dying. I gotta have more kids.
Gotta keep warm and nice somehow, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Valkia, girl, you gotta get busy with it. And she goes, why? I don't care.
I do not have these urges.
I do not have these urges. No, we stan a queen.
She's an asexual queen.
Well, we'll touch back on that in a second.
She's a currently not interested in sex, has other priorities, queen.
Queen. By the time Valkia had turned 18, her father had become ill, and his condition did not improve as the years went on. And one day, realizing that there might not be much time left, he suggested that he and Valkia go hunting like they used to. You know, spend some time together. Quality family time.
We're out of food.
Initially, Valkia refused, but something inside her was like, give him a chance, right? So they go hunting. And on this hunting trip, she and her dad encounter a black stag, this huge black stag.
Oh.
And her dad is like, oh, what a great omen from the gods. And Valkia is like, yo, meat.
Oh, dinner.
Yo.
Delicious.
She's like, so she's going to kill this thing.
Right.
And her dad is like, I will disown you.
This guy's moving goalposts all over the damn place.
So, well, to her, she's like, it's just a stag that can feed us for months. It's enormous.
She's gonna be the greatest warrior ever. You should be more like my daughter.
You should act more like what you should be.
You should smile more.
So, after he says this commotion also caused the stag to run away.
Oh.
And Valkia, like, just turns to him and is like,
Are you sure, Father? You'll make an enemy of me. Is that what you want?
and her dad's like, and before he can answer, suddenly they hear a bunch of people coming their way. Like maybe 40 people, Valkia estimates. And she's like, oh shit.
And her dad goes, oh, Valkia, what if they come in peace?
And she turns around and is like, what the fuck? Shut up.
What?
Shut up.
Every time I've heard about this other clan showing up, they kill everybody. Why would they be coming in peace?
Literally, she's like, that's her natural defense is like, what if they want to fucking kill us?
What is this guy not telling us? America?
Well, he's also like really old by this point.
America has secrets.
Merrick. So he's like, what if they come in peace? And she's like, what the fuck?
What does that even mean, Dad?
Before they can get into an argument, he orders her to wait with their warriors until he can give a signal if things go wrong. And Valkia's like, fine, whatever.
Oh yeah, because you're going to have time to give the signal if things go wrong.
So these people approach Merrick, and they talk, and they explain that they're actually on the run from another clan called the Bloody Hand. And they're just looking for some shelter.
We're in this big wooden horse, and we want to give it to you.
So you're thinking like Valkia is, she's like, I don't trust like that.
That horse
this is bullshit.
Mighty suspicious.
So
well made, but suspicious.
So during this, Valkia shows up during these negotiations and is like, yeah, for sure, bro. Yeah, how about, hey, your women and children, hey, let's guide them to the center of camp. You and your warriors stay here, though. Yeah, but I think it would be a good idea to have your women and kids come on in. And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. And they have the women and kids go in there. And Valkia is like, sick, and then starts killing all of their warriors. She is not going to take any chances.
I mean,
listen.
Points for saving the kids.
She don't trust like that.
I mean, again, it's not like she has been raised under a condition where she has had opportunity to trust.
She has not had a normal childhood.
No.
She has grown in a society that is like extremely violent. They worship a violent god called the Axe Father. And like, she lost everything when she was a little kid. Like, of course she's gonna be super aggro.
I mean, they sound quite Viking-like.
Yes. In fact, these people in the North, come the time of the Empire in the, I guess I would say, modern fantasy time, like where most of it takes place, this type of people are called Norska.
Oh.
And they live in the North. So, yeah, very Viking-ish.
The people in the South, are they called the Southka?
No, they're the Southlanders. Or the Southerners.
That was a little more on the nose than I was expecting.
Oh, welcome to Warhammer. In this commotion, Valkia kills the supposed refugee leader. And then she enters her dad's tent. And she's thinking to herself, my dad is weak. Age has made him so much weaker. His strength is gone. He is not my father anymore. What I'm about to do, this is a kindness. And she tells herself this over and over and over in her head until she can finally muster up the strength to kill her dad.
The dream. No.
But then one of the members of the circle comes up and stabs Merrick in the back. And Valkia's like, what the fuck? And he goes, hey, Valkia, listen.
I'm gonna do you a solid real quick.
Listen. You're right. He was weak. He was gonna lead us to more bad, stupid decisions. You're right. Also, I love you.
Oh no.
So I'm gonna do you a solid and do this so that you won't be branded as like a traitor.
This is all happening on the rooftop of the school at sunset.
So he's like, I'm gonna do you a solid. And she's like, damn, I'm kind of sad.
Damn, bro, you all right?
Valkia takes this guy in front of the entire clan and goes, this guy killed my dad. He will now die.
Why doesn't she just be like, oh my god, my dad is dead, ah, and let him sneak out?
I mean, that's kind of what she did. She basically was like, this guy betrayed us, and then, kills him.
Why point him out?
So that there's no questions. He did this so that she could publicly do this and take the seat as the leader of the clan. After this, Valkia claimed the title of headwoman, leader of the Schwarzwolf.
Ah, it keeps making me giggle.
Yeah.
Headwoman.
If you click on her in Total War, sometimes she says that.
She just calls herself headwoman.
Well, I mean, that's the title. That's
yeah, but who
that's
says
the
their
rank.
title? Like, I don't go to my aunt who's a doctor and she goes like gynecologist. Like, what?
Podcaster.
Oh.
The Schwarzwolf had women as leaders before. However, they were quickly killed by men who wanted power for themselves.
Oh, it's like the Mr. Beast games.
And as she predicted, a few men rose to challenge Valkia, and they were all killed instantly.
Yeah.
Nobody could defeat her. So time goes on. And the clan that was responsible for sending these refugees, for causing this all to happen, the Bloody Hand, made themselves known. And Darren, the leader of this clan, wanted to meet with Valkia.
That's a Darren thing to do.
It's true. Both clans met on a battlefield, ready for any possible outcome. And Valkia approached Darren, a giant man with muscles like boulders and wild eyes. Strangely, he was the first man Valkia ever found attractive.
Oh, she's just into fucking muscle boys.
She needs them to be crazy.
She needs a Primarch.
She's like, you're roided out and you look like a psycho. I love that.
I'm into it.
I'm into it. So she goes up to this guy and says,
I am Valkia. You will show respect, man of the bloody hand, or face the tip of my spear.
And Darren slowly begins to speak. He says, your war speaker told us a woman leads your clan. We did not believe this to be true. Valkia scowled at this.
And she's like, what? Like it's hard?
Well, she says,
Do you think women weak?
Darren laughed. No, far from weak. We have all witnessed the pain of childbirth. My father says no man could ever bear that. But until now I had not met with a tribe with a woman in such a position of great power. His face grew serious. Do you practice magic? Valkia lifted her head, almost offended at the suggestion.
I am a warrior. I fight at the heart of every battle, and I fear no man.
Darren smiled. Is that an invitation to fight? The fight to be had was more of a game, or a ritual of sorts. Whoever bled first loses. Darren was big and powerful, but Valkia was agile and quick thinking. Before Darren even had the chance to move, Valkia lunged, cutting him down with such force that he toppled to the ground. She had won in an instant.
She uses my techniques.
Literally,
Yeah.
just knock them down before they can do anything. Why would I give you the chance?
Go for the kick.
So Darren's on the ground, and he's just smiling, and he mumbles to himself,
She's hot.
"Oh, I love this."
Death by snoo.
So Valkia holds this knife to his face, and she says,
Tell me why I should not gut you here.
because the blood god favors you. Valkia's like, what? Let me live, and you will learn more. Valkia waited a while, thinking to herself, and then eventually lowered her arm, grabbed Darren's hand, and lifted him to his feet. Darren then grabbed Valkia's arm and raised it to the sky. All around her, the warriors from both clans chanted her name, Valkia! Valkia!
I like this guy.
No, Darren's cool.
Darren's great.
For now.
Don't say that.
Listen, this entire story is about how men suck. It's
oh,
fine.
Man.
Girl power.
I thought we were going to learn something new today.
That's a joke for anyone who takes that seriously.
It's true.
So, the Schwarzwolf and the Bloody Hand united, forming an invincible alliance. They almost formed like a kingdom of Norskins, and they had smaller clans around them as like vassals. And for the next 5 years, Valkia ruled as headwoman, her strength improving each and every day. Darren taught her more about the blood god that his tribe named Karneth.
Oh, interesting.
Oh. To her surprise, this was the exact same god that her tribe worshipped, the Axe Father. It's like, oh shit, that's the same guy. So she began dedicating her kills to Karneth, and began rewarding warriors who brought her the most skulls.
Oh no.
And began putting heads on spikes around her camps of anyone who dare attempt to lay with her.
Oh. Wait, what?
Yeah, if some guy was like, yo,
Okay,
Valkia, I want to fuck, she's like, die.
No, that's a
Just
great
put-
defense. Like, I just walk out at the parking lot with, like, keys in case, but, like...
Whoa. She's like, nah, try it. Oh, you think you're hot shit? Yeah. This guy and this guy and this guy, yeah, they all thought the same.
Yeah.
You want to try it?
This guy used a pickup line. This guy got me flowers.
Yep.
This guy just went in for a kiss, which is why the top is gone.
I scalped that bitch. This behavior caused her people to give her the title Gore Queen. Apt. The only one that she ever truly cared for was Darren,
Aw, I ship it.
who after some time married Valkia.
Ah!
And together they came to expect a pair of twin girls.
Wait, how did they know that? They expected twin girls?
Again, they've got shamans.
I mean, sometimes you see that thing in fucking fantasy where they'll be like, I can tell it's a boy.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. They probably had like a guy come by and like touch Valkia's stomach and just be like, girls.
Some people think if you eat enough lemons, it just changes the chromosomes. So, like,
Whoa, that's crazy. Side note here. Valkia hated being pregnant.
yeah, that's very fair.
She hated it. She was like, I could be training. And they're like, you can't. And she's like, that's stupid.
I'm not looking forward to it.
It was also not an easy pregnancy when labor came. But after all was said and done, she held her 2 daughters in her arms. And for the first time in a long while, she smiled with a warmth only love can bring.
Oh.
She named the first child Eris after her mother, and the second Bellona. That was Darren's mom's name.
Oh, okay, that's very sweet. Bellina?
Bellona. Belena. Let me rephrase that.
Listen, whatever it is, it's better than fucking Renesmee, okay?
Whoa, who's Renesmee?
That's Bella and Edward's kid, which she names after like a combination of his mother and his grandmother's name. It's crazy. And then they turn around and it's the baby jump scare in the movie because they decided to like CG the baby rather than just use a normal baby, and it's like,
whoa. So yeah, Eris and Belena.
Belena?
What did you say?
I said Belena.
Eris and Belena. Here's where we start to hate Darren.
No!
Darren made it very clear to Valkia that he was extremely disappointed that she gave birth to girls.
You know, the most modern theories point to the actual gene that kind of determines the sex of the child comes from the sperm. So fuck him.
Really?
And fuck every man who's ever been like, you gave me this.
He started to turn into one of those dudes who was like, my legacy.
My legacy.
Yeah.
My lady. My legacy.
As you can imagine, Valkia saw this and was like, oh, fuck you. She got fucking pissed. And their relationship, their marriage got way worse as time went on.
He went backwards. Like, you know how most men suddenly realize that women are people when they have a daughter?
Yeah.
He had 2 daughters and was like, I used to respect anybody as long as they were strong, and now fuck it.
Oh.
Or I should say some men. Some men.
You were so much hotter before you were pregnant, Valkia.
Okay, but that's also a thing that happens a lot. I've talked to you about like the weird phenomenon of it's very common for men to leave their terminally ill wives, whereas it is almost unheard of for wives to leave their terminally ill husbands.
So, the only time Valkia ever truly felt herself was during combat. During one raid, her spear broke, and so she requested a new one to be fashioned that would catch the attention of the very gods. Eventually, the spear was made and given to her, complete with a rune of the blood god etched into the blade itself. She named the spear Sleipnir. She was also given a special set of armor that was perfectly fitted to her body that she rarely took off. Now, eventually, something strange started to happen. Murmurs, rumors began spreading around the camp, questioning Valkia's right to rule. And more voices rose every day claiming that Darren should be the leader of the clan. Immediately, Valkia was like, oh, fuck no. She could tell that her husband was trying to take control from her. And so, she came up with a plan. She goes to Darren and goes, yo, you know what we should do? We should sacrifice our daughters to the gods for their favor. And Darren is like, that's genius. So true, queen. Because in his brain, he's like, yo, I can like get rid of my daughters and then my wife later. Yo, this is sick.
I hate women.
I hate women.
Then I can actually just play video games all the time and nobody will yell at me.
So, the ritual began. Valkia's daughters are put on the slab. She's walking around chanting and she's like, in the name of the trickster, in the name of the fly lord, in the name of the reveler. And when it came time to honor the axe father, she turned to her husband, Darren, and tore his head off.
Yes, bitch.
And mounted it on a spike. And then her daughters were like, what now, mom? And she was like, get up. I wasn't gonna sacrifice you. Are you crazy? Get the fuck up.
You know what you do with the man's neck?
What's that?
You bend and snap.
And snap. Little did she know, Valkia's dedication to violence and blood had caught the attention of her patron deity, and he kept a very close eye on her with great interest. By the time she was 30, Valkia was in her prime. Her power and ferocity overpowered anyone who dared get in her way. And her people decided that, since she was the Gore Queen, she needed a throne. And so they made one made of wood and skulls.
Oh, good.
Our queen, check out this throne that we made. And she was like, cool. And every time she sat on it, she's like, I hate this thing.
I hate it. It's all rickety, you got splinters.
Well, that's not the reason. She just liked sitting on the ground more.
Oh, that's fair.
She just liked the ground. So, everything was great. The tribes were prospering. She was a great leader, all things considered, but she did rule with like an iron fist. One day, a stranger came to camp. His skin was alabaster white, glowing like moonlight on snow. Approaching the throne of skulls, his movement was graceful, every step effortlessly perfect. He took Valkia's hand and lifted it to his sculpted lips. This man said, "I feared the tales of your beauty to be grossly untrue, yet you are quite lovely, Queen Valkia." His eyes locked with hers, and she snatched her hand away. Where Darren was large, brutish, and attractive with his powerful muscle, this stranger was beautiful. Valkia asked who this stranger was, and he answered with a smile, "I am Losifax, and I am here to make you an offer." Valkia had not felt this way in a very long time. She was confused, flustered, and trying to keep herself under control. Before giving his offer, Losifax brought gifts. He brought the bottles of the sweetest wine Valkia or her people had ever tasted. Glass after glass they drank, all the while their guests telling them of the lands of the fruits where the wine came from. And while this was happening, Valkia noticed something. This stranger was talking to her daughters. He was flirting with her daughters. Well, to her surprise, the feeling wasn't, those are my girls. The feeling she felt was, nuh-uh, I'm jealous. And so she gets up, and she's like, something's not right. Girls, get out. And they're like, aww.
Girls, I'm a Riz. Mama's got a Riz.
Chat, I'm going to try to riz him up.
Chat.
Losifax, your ass is so fat it makes me want to kill myself.
Oh no.
So, it's just her and this beautiful stranger Losifax. He looks to her with a smile and says, "I meant no offense, Queen Valkia." Valkia responds angrily,
Eris and Belena are my daughters. You are a stranger, and I will not have them whoring themselves to you.
Me, however.
Hey, listen, depending on how this conversation goes. Losifax did not look up from his wine. Pity. I had such grand plans for them both.
What is the offer you came here for?
Valkia cut off. The stranger sat up and smiled. I am here at the behest of my own lord and master, although the rumors of your beauty would have drawn me eventually.
Perhaps I wasn't clear. Answer truthfully. Who are you?
Beautiful and clever. What a charming combination. Very well. He rose to his feet. You have sworn allegiance to the Four, although you favor the... What is it your people call him?
Axefather, we called him. We know him as Karnith now.
Closer, admittedly. Crude names, but fitting for a god whose desire is death and bloody destruction. My lord and master.
You are of the Reveler, the god of lust.
Valkia's patience was running out. That is not the name by which I know him, but close enough. Yes, he feels that a woman with your unique... His eyes drifted across Valkia's hips up to her breasts. Attributes are wasted in the service to a warrior god. If you would reconsider, give yourself over to me, then you would reap a most exquisite reward. Valkia felt sick.
Get out!
She spat.
Now, and I may yet spare your life.
Oh, come, Valkia. How long has it been since you had a lover? I can fulfill your every desire. He kissed her.
He's gonna die.
Your people, they speak that you cannot be a true woman, that you have forgotten how to truly live your own life, that you are a dead, barren husk of a woman.
My God, it's the guy from our comments.
That one
guy.
Valkia, daughter of Merrick, I can breathe life back into you. The power of my master can flow through you, and you shall experience pleasure like you have never known. Valkia grabbed his wrists and pushed him away from her.
I belong to Karnith,
she said warily.
Your words are as twisted and meaningless as you. Your perverse lusts and desires do not compare to the purity of battle.
Valkia then challenged Losifax to the same competition that Darren and her did many years ago, the Circle of Blood. although this time it would be a battle to the death. If Valkia won, Losifex vowed he would leave her people be, but if she lost, her soul would belong to his master.
I accept,
she said. Tomorrow, then.
No. Now. I want you gone. Now.
Losifex sneered. Now? Without your precious armor?
I need only my spear and shield, nothing else.
She lifted the tent flap.
Get out!
I thought they were gonna have a fuck off.
No. He would love that. He would be like, yeah. So, everybody started to form a circle in the middle of camp. And Losifex is just sitting there sneering and giggling like a child. And Valkia approached this makeshift arena completely naked, only holding a shield and a spear like she promised. She looked at Losifex and said,
I come to you in my bare form. Will you do the same?
The alabaster man stopped, and after a moment smiled again. You are clever, he said. Some of Valkia's clan screamed as Losifex grew wider and taller. His form shimmered into something both human and demonic, his skin silver with stains of purple across his body. He grew 6 arms, 2 ending in pincers large enough to cleave a man in 2. Its face was a collection of eyes and teeth positioned like a lamprey, and a long, flicking tongue.
I am Losifex,
it hissed,
and I will be your undoing.
And he skittered around like...
Yeah, pretty much. Losifex is a demon prince of Slaanesh.
Right. That's loads of facts.
It's true. The battle began. Valkia burst forward, thrusting her spear at the towering demon, and missed. She tried to strike again, and again, and again, but nothing would connect. Every attempt to harm this creature would end with it parrying her attack or, in the last moment, moving off target. It's not that she didn't want to hit this monster, it's that she couldn't. It was too fast. Valkia became angrier, her swings more fueled with rage and desperation. She almost didn't see one of her people about to plunge his blade into her side. Without thinking, she swung, cutting down the man instantly, and she looked up to see her entire clan attacking one another, and several heading straight for her. On pure instinct, she defended herself, striking each attacker without mercy. 3, 5, 10. They kept coming. Men, women, even children. All too weak to keep the demon's seduction at bay. Losifex laughed.
You are weak, Valkia. Your morality gives you only so much strength. You will tire of this before long.
The demon prince charged, dancing through the bewitched servants, and cut Valkia's cheek. She bellowed in rage, more cuts appearing across her body as the demon continued its dance, laughing all the while. She kept defending herself against her own people until they had crowded around her, too many to count. Losifex's voice cut through the noise as if he was right next to her ear.
What will it take you to succumb to me, Valkia? Your entire clan. Your very daughters.
Valkia's eyes shot open, and in a blind rage, she burst from her people crowding around her in a dead sprint, her voice blood red as she charged toward the demon. Blood for the blood god. All of Losifex's eyes widened in shock. The creature tried to move away from Valkia, but it was too late. She plunged Sleipnir into the demon's neck with a speed and force that sent both of them into the ground. She impaled him into the fucking dirt.
Damn.
Couldn't move. And the demon lay at an awkward angle, its hands wrapped around the spear, trying to remove it, but it was worthless.
I cannot die, Valkia.
It gurgled. Valkia picked up the sword that it had dropped.
I am a champion of my master. I will return. He will grant me a new body. I will...
She sliced the demon's head off of its shoulders. Valkia, naked, drenched in blood, cuts covering her body, roared to the sky in victory.
She's gonna want to disinfect those.
She retrieved her spear from the demon's corpse, easily removing it from the earth. The rune of the blood god burned brightly on its blade.
You cannot kill me, warrior bitch. All you have done is infuriate my master. He will not let this action go unanswered.
Valkia pressed the blade of her spear onto the demon's face, the blood god's rune searing into its flesh. The demon screamed.
Does that hurt, little demon?
Losifax screamed louder.
Does it hurt?
She demanded. And after several minutes, she was satisfied and stopped.
That's what it feels like blocking people.
It's true.
After they've been toxic.
Seethe, mauled,
Die mad.
die mad.
Burn the body
She called out to her people.
and bring the nails. I have plans for our guest.
Oh, not the nails.
Those that were still alive didn't move. All looked at their leader, covered in her own clan's blood, standing amongst their bodies. Valkia's face flashed with rage.
I said move!
She yelled, and everyone obeyed. Losifax's head laughed.
See how they start to turn on you.
Valkia pinned the head of Losifax onto her shield with 8 nails, each etched with a symbol of Karneth, so that the demon would experience unending agony. She fucking...
No wonder I get creeped out by the shield. It's a freaking predator.
It's true! She then declared that she would take this trophy and present it to the blood god himself. And for that, she would need to prepare for a journey to go north.
Right.
Farther than anyone has ever gone, to the Chaos Wastes.
All the way to Nunavut. Yellowknife.
Her people called her mad. She's gone insane. The demon broke her, they said, but she was determined. She gathered 1,000 of her finest warriors, those most loyal to her, and they began preparation for the trials ahead. After some time had passed, the preparations were ready. And the night before the journey, whilst gearing up, the demon head spoke to her again.
My master awaits you in the realm of the gods you journey to, Valkia. Just as much as that savage you worship. When you...
She kicked the shield in the face. It stopped speaking. Every time it talks, she's just like, shut the fuck up, I don't care. However, the demon had done its job, and the fear, the doubt Valkia felt was more apparent than ever. She decided to move out that night rather than the following day, just so that she did not change her mind. This is scary. No one's ever done this before. She could very well just die on the way. Who knows even if the realm of the gods is real?
Right.
But she had faith. And so, with her 1,000 troops, the journey to the Chaos Waste began. Through trial and tribulation, the warband fought against the elements, trolls, wild mountain lions, and hordes of beastmen. After so much, many of the tribe, convinced by Eden, remember Valkia's half-brother, abandoned their leader, and they went home. They called this journey pointless, a crazed woman's dream. She's not fit to be headwoman anymore. This left Valkia with only 100 or so warriors. Many were already sick and dying of wounds. Valkia was furious at this betrayal. Did they really think that she had gone mad? Was she? Was this all pointless? No. With her remaining warriors, she pressed on until they came across a staircase of 8 massive steps that led to a massive portal that would lead to the realm of chaos. At this point, it was only her and her most loyal warrior, a guy by the name of Cormac.
Go Cormac.
Yeah. No, we stand Cormac. You're gonna see why.
We stand Cormac.
We stand Cormac. He stayed with her to the very fucking end.
He's
Everyone
one of the
else,
core mechanics.
bitch-ass motherfuckers. Cormac, that's my guy.
That's the goat.
That's my champion. That's the goat. He's the goat! Cormac! Valkia looked to the portal atop the 8 massive steps and said, I come, my master. For the first time in the journey, Losifax spoke.
He does not hear you. You are at the steps to my realm, the space between worlds. And soon, Valkia, very soon, there will be the exacting of my revenge. It will taste sweet, my love. Even as you draw your last breath, I will savor your doom. My master already senses my presence. Already he sends his children to avenge me. Your life is marked in minutes. Your god, the idiot thing that he is, does not hear you.
She ignored him.
This is your last chance, Valkia. Lay one foot on those steps and your life is forfeit.
I just want her to treat him like I treated your head on stream. I just feel like bam, bam,
Just
bam.
smashing my head. To her surprise, the demon almost sounded like it was pleading to Valkia. But her determination had brought her this far, and she would not turn back. At the top of the staircase, dozens of Slaaneshi demons waited for her, like predators about to pounce on their prey.
Cormac,
Valkia said.
this fight is mine alone. There's no reason for you to die. Go home.
Cormac did not speak and did not move. He would stay with Valkia, loyal to the end, the GOAT!
We stand Cormac.
We stand Cormac,
So be it.
thought Valkia, and took the first step. Immediately, the demons descended upon them, rushing past Valkia and swarming Cormac, the easier of the prey. Valkia struck with her spear as the demon shield laughed. She took another step, ignoring the horrible screams of Cormac. Another step, and another. With 3 steps left, the demon shield flicked its tongue.
Welcome to the hereafter, Valkia.
It screamed, a sound so loud that it pierced Valkia's ears and made her nose bleed. The demons at the bottom of the steps turned their attention to Valkia.
These are my brothers and sisters, Valkia, and they are very angry with you.
Gotta use shield bash.
Oh yeah, you love him that much?
Here, give him a kiss.
As the demons pounced on her, she defended against mortal blows while trying to crawl the last few steps just a little more.
I come, my master.
Oh wait, sorry, that's Los Effects talking.
I come, my master.
The shield screamed. Valkia bellowed the name of her god, and then... nothing. Nothing. Valkia died just a few feet from her goal. That's it. That's the end of the story. That's it.
In the document.
No, this is it. Sorry, Valkia, she dies. Never gets her goal.
The demons can revive people.
You're too smart for your own good.
Yeah, well, I'm just like her.
She pays attention.
I'm taking notes.
An incorporeal, rage-filled bellow shook the realm. The very earth cracked. Lava spewed from the deepest mountains. Nearby dwarven cities crumbled to dust. The demons surrounding Valkia's body were vaporized from the shockwave of pure wrath that came from the realm of chaos. And from the portal, bloodletters exited. Their heads hung low in respect and mourning.
I just see like a volcano going off down in the south, and one skink is like, that can't be good.
What the fuck? Something's happening. This is crazy.
I know.
The last demon that exited the portal was the leader rank of Bloodletter, a herald of Khorne. This herald of Khorne observed the body of Valkia with sadness and noticed a shield by her side. The demon picked up, admiring the nails etched with the mark of her god.
Do not touch me, child of Khorne!
Losifak screamed.
Yeah, it's not fun, is it, huh?
Yeah, it's not fun when
Wow.
things aren't going your way,
Weird.
fucking idiot.
Stupid.
The demon prince of Slaanesh was terrified. It screamed louder as she took it under her arm and ordered the others to take care of Valkia's body and carry her spear. Carefully, the other demons picked up Valkia and her gear and carried her into the realm of chaos.
And what's his fuck, right?
Cormac? No.
Oh, man.
No, he's at the bottom of the
It's
steps.
too far. We're not going all the way down there.
Are you kidding me? These
We're
stairs
the
are
gods
big.
of blood, not
Oh.
exercise. Are you kidding me?
Ugh. Darkness.
No, parent. Sorry.
Whoa. Darkness. Nothing. And suddenly, a shock of strength ran through Valkia, filling her limbs with heat and power and searing away her uncertainties. There was no kindness in the action, but there was a sliver of understanding that cut through her emotions and brought equilibrium to her tangled thoughts. She opened her eyes, and a dry wind rushed across a plain of crushed bones that stretched as far as the eye could see. Ash and cinders fell from a bloody sky stained with the bands of sooty clouds. I have an excerpt here directly from Valkia's book because I think it's like beautifully written and it's like really cool. So let's read it.
Yeah.
Screams, wordless cries of fury, and the clash of weapons filled the air, and a charnel house reek assailed her senses, laced with the acrid stink of hot metal. And on the horizon, a mountain of skulls so vast it swelled until it filled her vision, an impossible monument to the glory of endless slaughter.
I failed at the last, my master.
Valkia remained where she was, lying on her back with her hands clasped over her stomach. But her voice bore the strength of a woman she had been. She called the words out into the boundless, barren plains that surrounded her. She did not purport to understand anything the god was showing her. But she realized that she existed in a limbo of sorts, a place where if she moved too far forwards, she would fall into eternal sleep. Or a place, perhaps, where the potential for other things existed.
I failed you.
She whispered the confession into the void, hot tears prickling at her eyes.
I did not climb the steps. I did not reach.
A torrent of images assailed her, one after another, like pages of her life being turned by an invisible hand. A girl pushing a spear into the heart of a defeated barbarian. A young woman shearing the head of a man who lay squirming in a pool of his own spilled guts. A bitter mother burying her knife in the throat of a hulking brute. A raging warrior queen screaming across 100 battlefields, her spear falling again and again, piling stained skulls at her feet in an endless war of devotion. A blazing, bloody berserker dancing an achingly perfect duel with an obscene monster. And finally, an unholy warrior casting down beastmen and demons on a bleak, dusty plain. She lifted a hand from her abdomen to wipe across her face, ashamed of the womanly tears that she was still weeping. She felt a ghostly brush across her face in the darkness, and her courage returned to her. He cares about her.
In his weird, murdery way.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's okay.
You can still murder people.
It's okay, Valkia. It's okay to cry. Let's go kill more people. You'll feel better.
Let's go cause more pain and suffering together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that excerpt. It is gorgeously written. She looks to her master and asks,
What now?
He answered with flashes of her death, her people, those she had led to glory, and those who had betrayed her, abandoned her when she needed them most, leaving a single, overwhelming emotion. Rage. It's time to fuck shit up. It's time to fuck shit up.
She's seething.
She is seething, bro.
Her little horns point back.
She looks to Khorne and says,
I shall do what my lord desires.
She felt pain. Her body was being reshaped, transformed into a being built purely for battle, a form that was pleasing to Khorne. Bat-like wings erupted from her back, her head elongated. Her legs became bent and cloven-hooved, and finally, 2 horns grew from her skull. Through the pain, she began laughing wickedly. She became similar to the demons that came out of the shadows, bowing down to their new queen. Valkia rose, looking to the god above them. Her spear appeared in fire before her, reforged with obsidian and the silver end now etched with brass and black iron. Valkia took Sleipnir in her hand, and another flash of fire. And her shield appeared, also reforged, with a trim of brass, and now fused to the demon's head.
Valkia, you look different. Did you change your hair?
I never notice anything.
As she grabbed the shield, the demon's head flinched in fear. It would not dare speak out in this place again.
Good.
Valkia the Bloody watched as the shadows faded, showing an army of demons before her, bowing in servitude. A path between them led to the portal that she came from. She smiled, understanding.
In your name, my lord, it will be so. It matters not how the blood flows, only that it does.
Valkia had been reborn into something greater than the woman she was. Something eternal and terrible. She had become a demon prince.
Still a woman.
Yep. Technically, she is a demon princess.
I assume it's kind of like the High Valyrian word for prince, which technically isn't gendered.
Yeah, I mean demons, right? You don't technically have a gender, you're magic. So, this is our first time really talking about a demon prince. In order for a mortal to ascend to becoming a demon prince, to ascend to demonhood, you basically have to die.
That makes sense.
In which case your god will reshape you and
Right.
ascend you to demonhood, which is what we saw Valkia just do.
Yeah.
But yeah, now she's out for blood.
Yeah.
Valkia the Bloody, it's time.
She's doing it. She's got her objectives. She's got
Actionable steps.
steps. She's got a little list.
I'm going to go south, and I'm going to kill every motherfucker I see.
She's got an outfit, makes her feel good.
Oh, it's true. Oh yeah, she also got like a new reforged suit of armor.
Nice.
That of course is like all brass and red and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like kitted out. Khorne treated her very
She's got
well.
her spear. She's got her bitch. We love it.
Valkia came out of the portal where she had died and found at the bottom of the steps the body of Cormac, who, much to her surprise, was still alive.
Oh God.
But barely.
Oh, Cormac.
Valkia leaned down to take his head in her hands. His body was mangled, his face swollen and beaten, and yet he attempted to speak. He grumbled. He was trying to say
He's becoming Canadian.
he wanted to stay. He wanted to stay alive. Stay with Valkia. Now, luckily, Valkia could understand this.
She figured it. She's picking it up what he's putting down.
She's smart,
So be it.
she said, rising to her feet.
Rise, my champion!
She called to the sky. A gust of wind flew around them, forming a vortex that lifted Cormac from the steps.
Rise and do the bidding of your queen and your lord!
Cormac's body snapped and cracked with each movement, his wounds healing, his muscles bulging, flesh began to fuse with armor, and at the end of it, Cormac stood. A hulking figure of dark red and brass, eyes burning with pure, silent hatred.
See, a worse leader would have just been like, just walk it off.
Exactly, right? She made him into a warrior of Khorne. What the? Are you
That's a
kidding me? That's
promotion.
like such a promotion.
Yeah.
First of my warriors, for your loyalty, I bring you gifts.
With a force of will, several demons shifted and fused into one another, forming an axe. And from the portal, a juggernaut, a beast of metal and fire, approached. Cormac took the axe and mounted the monster without a word. Valkia smiled and set her eyes to the waste beyond. She, Cormac, and the horde of demons behind them began to march south towards revenge.
Somewhere south, one skink was like, oh no.
Oh, fuck. It's bad. Luckily, they're like in South America, pretty much, so they're pretty far away from all this stuff. And if any demons were to like enter Lustria, the dinosaurs would get them. I left out a detail about Lustria where we talked about how like in Age of Sigmar, the lizardmen actually got along with the dragons. Not so much in fantasy. In fantasy, Lustria doesn't have any dragons because the dinosaurs fucking ate them all.
Damn.
Damn.
That's kind of metal.
That's fucking metal. Anyway, as Valkia marches south, she conquers and burns many clans on the way. And those who survive worship her as the Gore Queen, the consort of Khorne, for she would only ever truly love the blood god. If you manage to impress her in battle, she would revive you, as a champion of khorne to fight forever in his service.
As a treat.
She's like, dude, good shit. Welcome back.
Good shit. 1 up.
1 up. Yo, hey, good job.
I'll raise you.
Every day her army grew, and every day they came closer to what was once her home. Meanwhile, in the Schwarzwolf clan,
oh, no.
Shit was bad.
Right.
Shit was really bad. Eris, Valkia's daughter, was the leader of the clan, but nothing had gone right since they had returned. Eden, Valkia's half-brother and Eris's uncle, had taken the role of God Speaker, basically the clan's advisor.
Right. What a fucking name, God Speaker.
He also, as you might imagine, never stopped attempting to take power away from his nieces.
Yeah, he's a little bitch. He's being a stupid little worm-tongued motherfucker.
Belena, Valkia's second daughter, died at the hands of a man who claimed he was to be her husband. Eris always suspected that her uncle had something to do with that. The clan became a place of infighting, petty arguments, and debauchery. The people of the Schwarzwolf eventually began having horrible dreams of a demon coming to them, hunting them, burning everything in her wake. Now, Eden would stand in front of the people and say that it was nothing. It was only dreams. Pay no mind.
It's only dreams that you're all having miraculously at the same time.
Don't worry about it. It's
fine.
something in the air. Don't worry about it.
That showed up a couple years ago. It's fine.
Hey,
don't talk about it.
Valkia, she died, bro. She's gone. Eris, being fucking smart, did not believe him. And one night, the sky turned red. Hundreds, thousands of khorne warriors, demons, flesh hounds, and worse swarmed the Schwarzwolf camp. None stood a chance. Eris gathered her greatest warriors, ordering them to form a defense, and charged into battle unflinching, unwavering. And as the massacre raged on, Eris did what she could to keep her people from fleeing. And while barking out orders, Valkia landed in front of her. Eris barely recognized her own mother. Eris charged forward. She was outmatched utterly by Valkia, but she fought with no fear, no hesitation, and Valkia felt pride. For her daughter's courage, she rushed in and pierced her heart, killing Eris before she even knew what happened. The most painless of deaths.
What a nice.
A mercy.
Merry Christmas!
Well, I mean, like, listen. I'm trying to add some fluff to it to make it. Listen, she killed her daughter, but, like, she didn't. It's better than, like, ripping off Darren's head slowly. You know what I mean? Like.
You bend and snap.
And snap. You ready for another bend and snap?
Oh, no.
We're coming up to one. Gently, Valkia laid her daughter on the ground, but her work was not yet done. She had to find Eden. Valkia threw open the leader's tent and found Eden cowering at the far side. She was disgusted at what he had become. The last time she saw him, before he convinced her people to abandon her, he had the body of a warrior, bulked with muscle. His body was now gluttonous, unrecognizable from the man he once was. He was speechless upon seeing Valkia, but he tried stammering nonetheless, begging for his life. Losifax laughed.
His mind was so weak.
What?
Valkia demanded.
I put the seeds of suggestion into the minds of all your people, Valkia. At least one found fertile ground, it seems. Congratulations, God Speaker. My master will be pleased that you devoted yourself to him so fully.
Valkia's brow furrowed.
You put my people against me, Eden. You were against me. I see that now.
She placed the tip of her spear to his throat.
Why? I led our people to a path of glory. You turned them away with deceit and lies. You caused this to happen. You damned them! Why?
Eden shook his head and looked up to Valkia with plain, dead eyes. Because it should have been me. No more than that. Valkia froze. No more than that. Of course, it was that simple. I should have been the leader.
I wanted to.
It should have been me.
But me?
I wanted to be the strong leader.
Eden waited for Valkia's spear to strike. Instead, he felt the weapon lift off of his throat, and Valkia plunged it into the earth beside her. He reached for her. Valkia.
When your blighted soul reaches the feet of the reveler, be sure to tell the Lord of Pleasure who has sent you before him.
She grabbed Eden's head and pulled, slowly, painfully, and tore it off of his shoulders. Ben and snap! Outside, Cormac waited, mounted atop his beast, his weapon soaked in gore. Valkia stepped outside the tent and walked to her champion, her eyes never lifting to meet his.
Cormac,
she said.
I must go. Our Lord calls me.
Cormac nodded.
I leave you to spread the bloody word, to carve a path of death and glory, bury the land in skulls.
He nodded.
And burn this place. Leave nothing of the Schwarzwolf but a vague and terrible memory.
He nodded. Valkia took flight to see her master, to spread more war, to spill more blood. The fires that burned the Schwarzwolf camp lasted days, the smog clouding the skies and poisoning the earth. In the years, decades, centuries that followed, nothing would grow on the land. Some would come to call it cursed. Others would call it happenstance. The land became known as Bloody Hollow. The people, the Schwarzwolf, faded into memory, forgotten by all. Valkia the Bloody, on the other hand, became a legend. Children were told if they ever saw a red Valkyrie flying across the sky, it was a sign of war, violence, and death were sure to follow. Her name is whispered in fear, even by the world's greatest and bravest warriors, for none can hope to survive the sword maiden of the blood god. Where she descended, warriors fought ever harder, for they knew Khorne was watching, and once the battle was over, Valkia would find and bring back the souls of those who had earned the reward of fighting forever in the service of the Lord of Skulls. Valkia would make a home for herself within the realm of Khorne, a volcanic fortress named Mount Ashenfell, and deep within her domain, a remnant of her past, a throne made of wood and skulls lay hidden and buried under a mountain of offerings to her master.
Looks at it like, I hate this thing.
And that's Valkia the Bloody.
Oh.
That's her story.
We did it.
We did it. So she is still being a demon, active.
She's doing her thing, being a demon.
Yeah. So, like, even in Age of Sigmar, she's around.
Yeah, I assume she's essentially immortal.
Yeah, she's immortal. Even if you manage to defeat her, she'll just come back later.
Yeah.
But that's Valkia, champion of Khorne.
Cool.
It is such a contrast that Skarbrand was like the strongest of Khorne's bloodthirsters. Uh-huh. And Khorne hates his ass.
Right.
And meanwhile, Valkia, he's like, my precious baby. I love her so much.
She's so good.
So yeah, that's Valkia the Bloody. How did you feel?
She seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's very determined.
Yes, she is very goal-oriented.
Yeah. Obviously, she grows up, like, worshiping this axe father.
Yes.
And then she just kind of keeps on going with it.
Yep.
Like, she never really changes her mind or has a different...
I mean, it's never wronged her before, so
why
stop?
It seems like it kind of has. Everything's gone to shit.
Granted, a lot of that was her upbringing. Mm-hmm. I think she's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I love that you can play as her in Total War. I am somewhat sad that you can't buy her model anymore, but her model was old and it was fine cast, so it wasn't very good.
Right.
I've always wanted to take a model from Stormcast called Andrasta. I've wanted to take this mini and convert it into Valkia.
Right.
Obviously removing like a lot of the Sigmar stuff.
You've even got a skull right there. Look at that.
Yeah, literally. Like,
that.
This would be so cool. It's also on a 60mm base, so you can run it as a Demon Prince.
Oh, cool.
So that's Valkia.
Yay.
You know? So we've had a bit of a look into the society of the Norskins and also the early humans, especially those closer to the north, because, and we've talked about this a bit before, they worship the Chaos Gods. Well, it's a bit because they want to, but also more than that, it's that they listen.
Right.
The gods will listen if you pray enough.
Yeah.
If you earn their gaze.
Right. If you've got enough people on your little church building doing the praying, and then your favor goes up, and then you can start summoning myth units.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's how it works.
But yeah, so she uses Losifax in battle as well as her spear Sleipnir. She
whapping his face into people.
Oh yeah, she has like idle animations in Total War where like the shield is like, I imagine, trying to talk to her, and she just like fucking smacks it.
She just looks at it. She's like, you used to be hot, stupid bitch.
Now you're not.
Now look at you. You got weird teeth.
What a queen.
Ugh.
What a fucking bad bitch. I love her so much.
Taking him down a nail. Or 7.
I think also I love this story because it also shows partly the aspects of Khorne that we talked about in the Khorne episode, which is, at least in fantasy, he's not all about the blood and the violence. It's also, there is a bit of like glory in there as well.
Yeah.
He's somewhat gentle with her before she transforms into a demon prince.
Right.
Like the ghostly hand wiping her tears away. Mm-hmm. I always found that to be like really fascinating from a perspective of we're always told how evil these gods are. So seeing like a moment of almost compassion is really interesting to me.
I mean, it's also like, if you think about the gods or like magic in so much as like what they are, how much of magic or the gods are a part of each other. Mm-hmm. Looking at nature, like what is evil? Is a lion evil because it kills something?
No. That's nature.
Exactly. I feel like to be so focused on something like just blood and war would be almost too human.
It's almost too simple-minded.
Exactly.
However, we will get into a couple differences between Khorne and some other gods. Like, our next fantasy episode is going to be on elves, and we'll talk about a bit of their pantheon, mainly the god Cain, who is the god of blood and violence and murder in elven society.
Okay.
And there have been a couple scholars in fantasy go like, Cain, Khorne, that's a coincidence. What the hell is that about?
Right.
And the difference elves say is Cain is a bit more of the honor side. Like, it's all about murder and violence, obviously. But the comparison is Cain fights with honor. Khorne is a rabid dog.
Yeah.
He will tear you apart. He does not care.
Yeah. But he won't stab you in the back.
No, he will not. He will not.
Yeah.
If you try to stab him in the back, he'll be like,
yeet
good on
ya.
you for trying to hit me. But
bye-bye.
Why'd you do it when my back was turned, you fucking pussy?
And then he'll throw you out of the car and you have to walk home.
It's true. I really like this story because in Warhammer Fantasy is a bit of a patriarchal society where typically women don't lead a whole lot.
Yeah.
There are examples of women leading, and they do very, very well within the Empire, within Kislev, within multiple societies. But for the most part, the average citizenry, it is that like men go to war, women stay home, that kind of thing. So I think Valkia's story of going against the norm of that is really interesting and honestly like really empowering as well, even though she is like murdering a whole lot of people.
It's almost less about her being a woman and more about the aspect of her gender just not mattering.
Exactly.
She has
that part,
like a drive, and it doesn't fucking matter how she identifies or what chromosome she has or how her body has formed its sex characteristics.
Like literally when she's talking to Darren for the first time and he's like, oh, I didn't expect a woman to be leading this clan. She's like, oh, do you think I'm weak? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
I just think it's unusual.
Yeah.
She does things in spite of a lot of expectations put upon her. Her dad is like, you need to act like the daughter of a chief. And she is like, why? I'm the best warrior around. Mm-hmm. She has daughters and she loves her daughters. And then her fucking husband is like, oh, I'm gonna take power because I fucking hate women. And she's like, yeah, why does that matter? Why does that cross your mind?
You're bringing all these aspects into the equation that haven't affected things before or shouldn't affect the outcome.
I feel like if Valkia came into our world, feminism numbers would go up drastically.
I don't know.
You know?
The violence and killing might
the violence maybe not. But like,
she'd probably be seen as pretty radical.
Misogynist, just kill them.
I mean, listen. Put him on a shield. Bash him into your energy.
If they don't learn, put them on a shield, then maybe they'll learn something.
Make your little skull diorama outside your front door. for your suitors.
I find it interesting she didn't raise her daughter back from
I was
the
waiting
dead
for
to be
that
a
to
champion.
happen. I was a little like, oh.
Yeah, I know. I'm not exactly sure why she doesn't, but it is said that she keeps the skull of her daughter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a bit morbid, but again, she's like a demon at this point, so, you know. She does like keep it in like a
She
special
brushes
place
her
within
hair,
her realm.
puts a little bow on it, has little tea parties with her.
Listen, demons are still demons, right? Like, yeah, I find it interesting she didn't raise her daughter from that. And maybe like there is a part of her that's like, I wouldn't do that to you.
I mean, I would think maybe it's kind of she wanted this.
Yes.
But her daughter didn't.
Yeah. And so
she like to somebody who doesn't want this, it would be like
Cormac was like, I
condemnation.
want to stay with you.
Yeah, Cormac
and she was
asked
like
for it.
sick.
Yeah. And it seems like
Dude, Cormac,
from what I
my guy.
understand, she like great warriors who fight against her, she'll raise them again. But there's
Yes.
probably like she sees like, a desire to keep fighting in them or something. I would assume.
Yeah, there's
That's
there's
just
that
literally me making that
defiance.
up, basically. Yeah.
Well, I imagine there is that defiance. Like, they're literally still fighting, even though maybe their other forces are retreating. And, like, they're against insurmountable odds. And she's like, yo, you still fought through that? Awesome.
Yeah.
You would do really well in this. You're probably going to vibe with Khorne a lot.
Yeah. Whereas the daughter, like, it was literally described as she wasn't hesitating, but she wasn't very good. Like, it wasn't her purpose to be a warrior.
No. She did do her best.
Yeah.
But
again,
unfortunately, she was going against Valkia, who, as we've described, is one of the best warriors in the setting, period.
Yeah. Is there a heaven or anything of that kind that we know of?
Your soul goes into
Like,
a realm.
there's some sort of afterlife.
There is some sort of afterlife, like resurrection, undead, that kind of stuff does happen.
Yeah.
There is a god of the afterlife in human society. They're called More.
Yeah.
What
happens after death? More.
I've always sort of interpreted it, and I could totally be wrong on this, but it's not something I've like done a lot of research on in case of like the afterlife, but it's just a lot of like assumptions. I've always assumed it's very similar to Discworld, where what you believe in is sort of what happens. Like there's a moment where in one of the Discworld books, Death's granddaughter takes up the duty for a while.
Yeah.
And at one point, she is on a battlefield full of Vikings. And she's got like this raven that is following her around and helping her out. And the Valkyries literally come down and like retrieve the souls and then like bring them to Valhalla. And the raven is like, yeah, what a stupid thing to believe in. Like, it's totally not real. And she's like, but it just happened. And he's like, yeah, it happened because they believed it would happen. It's still stupid.
Okay, but you're talking.
Well, yeah. So, again, belief is a power.
This is why
So,
I feel like that character, she's just me. Every time I see her, I'm like, oh my God,
Susan.
it's just me.
Yeah.
She's sitting around,
Yeah.
she's looking around, she's like, why is nobody asking like the questions here? And I'm like, me though!
no, Susan's awesome. She's great. But yeah, in terms of is there like a heaven? There's an afterlife.
Because, like, I would understand it. Again, it makes sense to me that she wouldn't condemn her daughter to this because I think she knows that that's not what her daughter wanted. But, like, if I knew that heaven existed and, like, my kid's gonna die in a war, obviously I'm not saying I'm gonna kill my kid, but, like,
Well, yeah.
a mercy kill becomes a lot less horrid,
Yes.
right? Which is essentially what she did.
She did a painless, quick death. Eris was dead before she even realized it. Like, she never even noticed.
Under my beliefs, she never would have realized.
Well, what I mean is, like...
Yeah, no, I know. She
it was
didn't
just
feel it.
suddenly things stopped.
Yeah.
And Valkia was like, yo, good shit.
Yeah.
And, like, if a demon or a Khorne warrior met Eris, they probably wouldn't be that kind to her.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, everything was getting burned and everything, so it was like,
Yeah.
I either take you with
Leave
me or
nothing but a vague and terrible memory. Ugh.
It's very, everything needs to be gone.
I don't want to think about this anymore.
Not just me, I don't want this to exist anymore. I don't want this,
Yep.
I don't want the world to know this was here.
And she succeeded.
Pretty much,
I
yeah.
mean, the only person who remembers the Schwarzwolf is her.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows if that's even the case anymore, because, like, hundreds upon thousands upon millions of years potentially have gone
you
by.
know, every now and then she like finally gets past it after like 500 years, and the shield's like, hey, remember Schwarzwolf? Damn it!
Remember how your half brother fucking betrayed
The
you
shield
and then fell
every
to
like
Slanesh?
3,000 years is like, you just lost the game.
Oh my god. She beats the ever-living fuck out of him.
Yeah, but he would like it.
I don't know. He doesn't seem to like it when it's like a
No.
khorne thing.
Yeah.
Like if it was a mortal beating him up, he'd be like, harder, daddy. But like if it's khorne, he's like, please fucking stop.
Yeah. I assume that something about the pleasure-pain principle is like...
Is kind of eliminated
when it
by
is
khorne.
done in a Slaneshi way, he gets like a little bit of power from it. But if it's done in a corny way, he doesn't get anything out of it. So it's...
There are moments, like you can see animations in Total War, where she is using Losifax to her benefit, where like she'll smack the shield and then his tongue will flick out and like cut people in half, like a whip. So like there are moments where she's like, you're gonna work for me today.
Yeah.
And it's sort of this really interesting dynamic of if they are against insurmountable odds and they need to win, they both have this like understanding of, well, I don't want to die.
It would be interesting to see her go up against Slanesh with him, because you would think he would be trying to
Slanesh has
undermine.
a fucking hit list, and Valkia's really high up there.
Yeah. But I would think that he might not be able to, but would try to, like, advantage Slanesh.
Oh, 100%. Like, if they're fighting Slaneshi demons,
He's just like,
Losifax is probably
I'm keeping
like...
my tongue right in here.
I bet because he is, like, literally fused to a khorne shield, there is, like, she can, like, influence her will to make him do something.
It feels like the nails are,
And they're biting.
like, sealing him and, like, not just sealing him, but, like, sealing his choice.
Slaneshiness. So after he got rebranded, that's a weird way to put it. After he got like
They retconned him, and then
he got canceled, and then he came back.
Yeah.
Like so after he was like reforged, the nails were gone. He was just like straight up fused into a khorne shield.
Yeah.
But the nails were like one thing that the bloodletter that took Valkia in was like, oh, nice job, good shit.
Well, I'd be interested to take a look at like the model of the shield, because it could still have like the markings on it, because they mentioned the markings. And like I'm thinking about like Japanese seals, like it's not the paper, it's the actual writing that is the seal. Oh, I don't like it.
No, it doesn't look like it. I think it's just like, it's mostly just flesh fused with metal. Here's official art. Yeah, there's no nails in it. Yeah, no, it's just like fully fused.
It kind of looks like
as a
the
shield.
popcorn bucket.
The dude popcorn bucket.
It kind of looks like that. I think that's the heebie-jeebie it's giving me. It's the same heebie-jeebie I get from the fucking Dune popcorn bucket.
If you saw a Losifax popcorn bucket, would you?
No.
Would you dare?
No, it would give me
He's
the
got a tongue.
heebie-jeebie. What do you mean he's got a tongue? I don't need another one. I got you.
Whoa. Calm down! This episode's about khorne, not Slanesh. I'm carving a brand of khorne onto my chest so that I will be pure from these thoughts. Be gone.
Do you think she has to feed it?
No, they're demons. They don't
Gives
need
it
to
little
eat.
snacks, like a carrot here and there.
He probably uses his tongue to like grab on a limb every so often, but it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just kind of like a void.
Oh, he's like that one stand. Who's that one that eats things and they just
Cream?
go into...
That's the name of it. It's
What's
cream.
that? Okay, I hate that. I can't remember.
Because his stand user is vanilla ice and the stand is cream.
Okay, yeah. It's like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that one.
I don't like the idea of Valkia going inside of the shield to like hide in it. I don't like that.
She starts storing things in there. She's
I need my other spear. 1 second.
Does anybody have a
Oh, there it
flashlight?
is.
Hang on, I totally do.
Yo, 1 sec. Check this out. But yeah, any questions, things to talk about with Valkia, my love?
What is the symbol on his forehead there?
That's the Slanesh symbol.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was the symbol of khorne. I was like, oh, there it is.
No. It's a Slaneshi symbol.
Are most of the like greater that's what she is, right? A greater demon?
No, she's a demon prince.
Sorry, demon prince. Are all the demon princes mortals that have been changed?
Yeah, it is a mortal who has ascended to demonhood.
So that's like her and...
Her shield.
Oh, he was a human. at one point?
He was a demon prince, yes.
Okay.
But he like ascended into a big monster. Be'lakor is a demon prince. He's actually the first demon prince.
Yeah, he's the one from the game, right?
Yeah, he's the one who is like
The
literally
guy.
a shadow.
Yeah.
He's the master of nightmares.
Oh, that's fun.
He's great. I love him. He's such a hater.
Fair enough.
Sometimes when they're fighting or they have some downtime, Losifex will sometimes still try to tempt Valkia and be like, if you go and dedicate yourself to Slaanesh, I bet Slaanesh will be really down to have you. And she's like, shut the fuck. And she just like punches him.
Okay, I need like little comics about their relationship. And he's just like
The
trolling.
punchline is literally always a punch.
He's like, it's like Bob a little bit.
Yeah.
But if Bob was like way worse.
As we talk about more demon princes in the future, they will have not similar stories, but they always have a trend of like they find a god or a god finds them, they ascend. Unfortunately, when you become a demon prince,
Right.
your free will most of the time is gone.
Go bye-bye.
Now Valkia is like Khorne's favorite precious child. He loves Valkia.
Yeah.
Like genuinely loves her.
Yeah.
Consort of Khorne, after all, right?
Right.
So she gets to do whatever she wants. But most demon princes, they have like a leash on them. And whenever the Chaos God is like, hey, you're going to do this thing, they
Sit, boy.
yank it. Yes.
Yeah.
Be'lakor is really pissed off because of that. Because he's undivided. Which means any of them can be like, hey, motherfucker, yoink.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be annoying.
Oh, he hates it. He hates it a lot. Next episode,
Right.
in Fantasy Adventures, we will be continuing the Great War of Chaos.
Oh, good.
We'll actually be kind of doing a part 2. Part 1 was like Lizardmen of like, how did this all happen? How did the world go to shit?
Right.
Part 2 is going to be how it ended.
Okay.
We are going to be talking about the High Elves. Well, all elves technically, but we're going to be covering... They have a lot of cool history.
Right.
Elves are fucking cool, and I cannot wait to talk about them. They've got lots of magic.
We
You're gonna
love
that.
magic.
There is a thing called the Ever Queen.
Okay.
She is like the de facto leader of the elves for a while until the Phoenix King stuff happens.
Right.
But that's another detail. She's like one with nature, like literally the embodiment of Aisha.
We love that.
We love that. And we'll talk about how the Great War of Chaos ended, how the elves pretty much saved the world.
That's nice.
There's going to be dragons, there's going to be war, there's going to be gods, there's going to be a Slaanesh demon named Nakari. Remember Nakari?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about them again. Lots of cool stuff.
So, in the Lizardman episode,
Yes.
the ones that survived the world dying and then end up in Age of Sigmar, you said that they got a ride on like the Star Dragon.
So the Lizardmen evacuated on their giant temples, which were also spaceships, and they went into space. And then a giant star dragon brought them over to the new realms. Yes.
Sorry, just those sentences were just really funny together.
I know. It's a lot.
So did everybody? Did these guys just catch a bus? Like what did they do?
Chaos in the downtime between Fantasy and Age of Sigmar literally destroyed other multiverses.
Oh,
They have destroyed full universes
Right.
in the time between. So, yeah. They basically didn't know about the mortal realms until Sigmar and the gang got kind of more prominent in power. And then the Chaos Gods kind of noticed the realms and was like, yo, that motherfucker is back. Kill him.
right,
And then Chaos kicked in the door and then fucking ran shit for like 2,000 years.
as they do.
As they do. I am looking forward to talking about elves. After elves, we should be talking about dwarves, probably. We'll talk about wood elves at some point soon, I imagine. The War of the Beard.
I'm assuming that's a dwarf thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They call it the War of Vengeance. The elves call it the War of the Beard.
right. That's fair.
But lots of exciting things happening in fantasy. In the meantime, we'll be talking about Primarchs and other 40k stuff. And I am super duper excited. I'm so happy that we got to talk about Valkia.
oh, we love a queen.
Yeah. Any closing remarks, my love?
Men should watch their back.
Around her?
I just in general.
Around me, bitch. I agree. I want a comic series about Valkia and Khorne with like this will they, won't they.
Yeah, and then every now
That'd
and
be
then the
great.
shield's popping in like, hey, I can give you some
He
pointers.
rewrites the note.
The note?
She like writes him a Valentine and then he rewrites it with his tongue while she's asleep and it says like, I actually hate you, and then you're like, oh no, the drama.
No, she writes it and it's like, I am devoted to you, I will always serve you, but he writes and it's like, I want to bleep your fuck bleep 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 bleep.
What, Valkia?
And he's like, oh my god.
Oh
my me. I just have an image of her and Khorne being in like a pad commercial.
Are you bleeding? We can help.
Collect it here. Ooh. Do you think they ever, like, if she asked really nicely, do you think he'd
be down?
Be down, like spend a night?
DTF?
Or do you think, like, every now and then she, like, leaves him, like, every Valentine's Day?
I think he's too scared.
She leaves, like, a little Valentine made of skulls. And he's like, oh, that's sweet. He gets freaked out by the Riz. He gets riz-rinked.
Chat, I'm going to riz him up.
Hang on.
Khorne, your ass is so fat, it makes me want to slaughter the planet.
Just want to give a super special thank you to Witchbolt for letting us use some of their tracks during this episode. You're actually listening to some of their stuff right now. They make music that is perfect for things like D&D, Pathfinder, tabletop RPGs. Having it on in the background while you're doing a task, I absolutely adore their music. So please go check them out. Links in the description. And thank you again, Witchbolt. What do you recommend for getting into Warhammer if you don't have enough money to play the game? My go-to recommendation for anybody is purchase Tabletop Simulator and look up the rules. You can find websites like Wahapedia. Go to that site with an ad block. That's my recommendation for that website. And just play around, see what you can do. Tabletop Sim often goes on sale, and if you want to get more into the miniatures, people often suggest 3D printing. It's a little expensive. In the long run, it's a lot cheaper than buying the plastic minis, but things like FDM prints are becoming much more popular. Overall, though, I would recommend Tabletop Sim and just looking up the rules online just to sort of try before you do any like big purchases, you know what I mean?
Or just use things you already have, or just DIY that shit.
That too.
Use
Excellent.
what you got. We've all got cardboard laying around. That's a treasure trove.
Between the two of you, who would more likely fall to chaos? And if so, would the other partner join them? Between us two?
Between us?
Oh, it's like a race. Like,
yeah.
Are you kidding
it's
me?
Really just what's why.
Listen, my morals leave my body the second that the bad guys have cool armor, so that's it. It's over for me. Magic?
That's less
demons?
likely.
Dragons? Hell yeah.
Fair enough.
But if Carrie ever fell to chaos, I would are you kidding me? Instantly join.
He likes the witchy thing.
I do. When contemplating the universe, do you find yourself longing for more 40k minis to paint?
When contemplating the universe, my mind drifts to other things.
I wish a lot of the 40k minis were better and not another Space Marine that looks like the other 20 Space Marines I have, but like slightly different. Pivot more to like Age of Sigmar kind of stuff.
I'd like more cute ladies.
I agree.
That doesn't mean get rid of all the other stuff. I'm just saying.
On a scale of 1 to Ferrus Manus,
Oh.
how on the nose would you rank Valkia's name? I don't think anything can beat Ferrus Manus. Valkia's pretty up there, though, with being a Valkyrie.
But she's like a spooky one.
Yeah. Did you know that Warhammer is not actually named after the weapon?
Oh.
It's named after a town called Warham, which is where GW like got their start.
Okay, fair enough. No, that's fair.
It's always
That
been like
happens
this. It has always been this. There's a vehicle called a Land Raider, and it's not named after what it does. It's named after the guy who found the technology to make it. His name was Arkan Land, so it's
Whoa.
Land's Raider. It's awful. It's terrible.
That's
terrible.
A lot.
I love it.